Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Tiffany Chayla for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, welcome back, guys. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining me again. So today I am going to be starting off my Bottle Girl series vlog. Well, why did I say vlog? I'm literally not even thinking. So I'm going to be starting off my Bottle Girl series videos, kicking off with this one right here. Now, y'all, don't try to shoot the messenger, because this is all based off my experience. I want to make that very, very clear before I go into this Bottle Girl series, because y'all know when you start saying stuff based off your experience and people experience something different, then they want to be like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about. Da, 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 da. I don't want to hear none of that, because this is literally all based off my experience. So you wouldn't know unless you were me, and you're not. So with that being said, guys, take what I say with a grain of salt, and I would just say, like, you literally create your own experience. So what I'm telling you now might be different from what you go through in 2 weeks, 3 months, a year, whatever the case may be. But we are just gonna get right into this video. These are the tips I wrote down. Tips before you get hired. These are based off of my experience. Again, so number one, my first tip before getting hired. So I have a lot of people that always ask me, like, how do I get into it, and what do you think I should do, and da 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 da. Y'all, my first tip is definitely to just go for it. Like, I think that was the hardest part, because like most people, like, in their heads, they make things up like, oh, I'm not gonna get hired because I'm that. Oh, I'm not gonna get hired because of this. Y'all, if you just trust and believe in yourself and just go into an open call or go in on their after hours and just do it, then you will get you a job eventually. Like, that hinders people the most is not just going for it. Like, you can't overthink this stuff. If you really want the job, then you will just go in and just apply, okay? So that's my tip number one. My tip number two is be confident. Now, that doesn't include like the surface level, as in like be confident in your looks. And of course you should be confident in your looks, which I'll get into, but be confident in your ability. Like, if you know that you were a bomb bartender at Red Lobster or something, like, then be confident in your abilities to be a bomb bartender. Like, nightlife is no different. People want to know that when you come in, you know exactly what you're doing, like, or something close to it. I mean, granted, there are some clubs and lounges where they don't care. They just care about your follower count and what you look like. But like, people want to know that you know what you're doing, essentially, like, at the end of the day, because that's what's going to keep the business running, you know, and that's what's going to keep you there for a longer time. So for me personally, when I went in, guys, and y'all probably gonna laugh, but I don't even care. Like, I didn't have no nightlife experience at all. Like, the job I work at right now, this is my first nightlife experience. I didn't have any nightlife experience at all, but you know what I did have? I did have customer service experience, and I knew that every single customer service job I have ever worked in, I excelled in any environment. Now, as far as food and drinks, like, I worked at a movie theater as a bartender for like 3 months before COVID happened. So I had a little bit of knowledge with that. As for food, I worked my first job was as a busser slash hostess at some restaurant, a formal restaurant in my town, in the local town, whatever I was staying in. And then I worked at Waffle House. So literally, like, these are the types of experience I was having. As far as customer service, I've had multiple customer service jobs before. As far as retail, yeah, the list goes on and on and on. Anybody that knows me knows I have a long record of jobs. But yes, customer service was definitely in there. So as you can see, I have multiple different jobs that I was working off of. And then on top of that, like, the experience I had, I was very confident in what I can do and what I can produce. People, when I went into these interviews, like, they were like, but you have no nightlife experience on your resume. There are many girls in here with years and years of nightlife experience, and that's fine. And some people will want that over the experience you have outside of nightlife. But for me, I was confident. Like, when I was working at Waffle House as a server, I was the best server up in there. When I was working at Pink in retail, I was doing crazy numbers. Like, I knew what I was doing. So I was confident in what I could produce. And I knew that if I can do that stuff, I could do this. And that's exactly what I said in my interview. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I always heard, when I first got hired at Waffle House, I heard that if you could work at Waffle House, you could work anywhere. And that's why I'm here. And guess what? That's what got me hired. Like, literally, just be confident in yourself. And be confident in your looks, guys. Come on. You should know that, girls. So that leads to my next one. My next one is doll yourself up. Y'all, this is a big one. Like, when you're in nightlife, you are going to be in front of multiple people a day, a night. Like, come on. Do not be dragging yourself up into the interview looking like who did it and why, because that's not going to get you in. Like, they say dress the part. Ain't nobody saying, which, I don't know, like, maybe in other clubs you might have to do this, but when they say dress the part, like, nobody's talking about some come in there with fishnets and high boots, knee-high boots, and a bodysuit. Like, nobody's telling you to do that, because literally you might be the only person in that interview with that on. But, like, dress the part. Like, this is nightlife. Act like you're, you know, don't go overboard, but act like you're going out at night with your friends. Wear you a cute little outfit. Do your makeup. Do your hair. Trust me on this one. Like, do not be coming up in there. I remember after I got hired, well, even during me getting hired, girls was coming up in there in sweats. After I got hired, I was sitting there watching an open call. Girls was coming up in there in a two-piece athletic outfit. It's not going to cut it at all. Doll yourself up and just look very presentable when you're going into these places. Look like your Instagram. Act like you are on Instagram, because this is what they look like. This is what they look for. They actually ask you to put your Instagram on the resumes. So look like how you look on Instagram, and you should be fine. My next one is know your stuff. This includes knowing your strengths. So, like I said, for me, customer service was my strength. I love to help people. I know how to talk, so I'm a very sociable person. I knew that I was never, ever going to have an issue with getting a job in a club. It was just a matter of what club I was going to be in. That was a problem. But I knew that I wasn't going to have an issue with getting into a club because, one, I'm very likable. Like, I'm a very likable person. People tend to gravitate towards me, strangers. So I knew that holding up a conversation and then helping people out and then serving them in a correct manner, like, that was never going to be an issue. I knew also, like, I'm a girly girl. Like, I like to get dressed up. I like to put makeup on. I like to do my hair. I knew that looking up to par was never going to be an issue for me either. Like, there are some things that I just knew was not going to be a problem. So know your strengths. Like, if you know you can do a beat face, then tell them. You will come up into work looking like the baddest, whatever, on site, okay? And like I said before, I knew that being sociable was never a problem. Highlight your strengths, guys. Let them know that in this interview. Like, let them know all of your strengths in the interview, especially if they pertain to the position that you want, okay? I would even go as far as like giving numbers, if you have that, like stats and numbers, how many people you're able to bring, like with a specific number in mind, how many, like the number of sales you're like the minimum number of dollar sales you're willing to bring in, just stuff like that. Just know your strengths and highlight them when you're going into your interview, as well as know your stuff. Like, if you're going in as a bartender, like, know your liquors. Like, if you're going in as a server, you should also want to know your liquors, because you have to recommend these things. Like, you have to recommend these people to some people who just don't know, like, excuse me, to some people who don't know, oh, what drink has this in it? Oh, what drink can I drink for this? Like, what are your reposados? Stuff like that. Like, you have to know your stuff. And then in the interviews, you might be asked about it. Now, I personally wasn't in my interview, but I know plenty of people who always say, oh, when I get into the interview, they ask me to list certain number of vodkas, certain number of cognac, certain number of whiskeys. Just study it, because this is the environment you're going to be in. So just be knowledgeable about that, just in case you are asked that in your interview. And my last tip before getting hired is going to have to be, who is calling me? Okay, so my last tip is going to have to be to keep your Instagram up to par. Like I said, they're going to ask you for your Instagram on your resume. So before you get in there, if I were you, I would put, if you have previous like pictures in nightlife where you were serving, and you know how them the club photographers be taking pictures of the servers or bottle girls or bartenders, have that on your Instagram page. Like, if it looks nice, keep it up. If you had your homegirl at work take a picture of you when you had your uniform on and you looked real cute, put that up on your Instagram and keep it up before you get to your interview, so that when they look through the stack of resumes and see your Instagram, they see pictures of you in your job, in nightlife. Now, before, like I said, I didn't have previous experience, so I obviously wouldn't have any nightlife pictures on my Instagram, but I know that my Instagram pictures be up to par. Like, I put quality pictures on Instagram. So just make sure that your Instagram is put together. My job didn't look for follower count. Some people's do. So there's a heads up. If you have a certain follower count, that's what they're looking for in like bigger clubs or something like that. But my job was not. They just looked at my Instagram, saw my pictures and what I look like. And then, like I said, when I came to the interview, I made sure that I looked exactly like I did on Instagram, which isn't hard. But yeah, and then I got hired. But make sure that your Instagram is up to par. So, yes, those were my few tips for things to do before you're getting hired as a bottle girl. If I left anything out and you bottle girls out there have experienced it or you feel the need to say what it is to help somebody else out, leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this. If you have any other questions, comment it below. And I thank you guys so much for joining me in this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.